Hello everyone, welcome back in this episode of Bitcoin Trade. This is another chart here, and looks like we have a pretty good downtrend here. Let me see here. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look here. This is basically the 10-day 2-hour, and I like using this because it doesn't move around and I can kind of see it in relation to where the price action moves, and until this is Mt. Gox, until this actually can finish above this other line here, or until they turn over, and you can get a finish, the price to finish above this, and when it turns over, finish above the 10 period and the 25 period. So when both these flip over and the price actually finishes above those two periods, the 10 and the 25 period weighted average, then you're looking at a break out of this downtrend here. So when you're on the downtrend, the problem is it looks like it's going to come up, but it's really just bouncing back from all the sellers, exhausting all the sellers, and this is just a bounce back, and then you get the sell off again, and a bounce back, and then sell off, and then it gets a little smaller until there's no more. The sellers are all exhausted. There's no more to sell, especially if you're at Mt. Gox. If you're locked in here, well, you don't have a choice but to buy in at this point. If you sold out, good, then you have to buy back in order to drive the price up. So, what can I say? Pretty clever, right? But let's take a look at some other charts here. Same thing here, and I'll go ahead and update it, so just so you know that is what it is. So same thing here. You got the sell off, the bounce up, and you notice it has to turn over, but the resistance in this scenario is the 25 period average. If you look at it, you see that that becomes the resistance instead of lines or looking at channels. So here's a really simple one. Didn't turn over, and the 25 period weighted average, it becomes the resistance on that. So kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. And that's Bitstamp. Okay, now let's have a look at BitC, and I'll go ahead and I'll just do that. And like I said, it doesn't move. It's really simple, real simple chart. And you know, it's just you see it, and you see it hasn't turned over, and it has not finished above. You know, this 25 period weighted average becomes the resistance, and there you go. And this is another way to look at buy signals. And then I had one of the viewers, let me see if I could find it here, hold on. Okay, here you go. So the legend X9, I guess he's still watching. So he mentioned interesting chart analysis. Could you in the future start using TradingView.com charts? They have more features. And let me I'll go over there, and I think this is it. And I'm gonna have to get used to trying to use this, but the reason why I wouldn't, me personally, it's really nice. It gives you all the information, and you play around with it. It's pretty good, but I wouldn't use this mainly because I'm sure you've heard of this, and this is one of the challenges when you first start trading, um, is paralysis by analysis. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but basically there's so much information that it overwhelms you to the point where you don't even make a trade. And I learned that too much information can prevent you from making a trade, especially if you don't have any experience in reading charts or doing any chart analysis. So as much as I love all these features, I learned probably the hard way, and but I guess you got to learn the hard way in order to learn the right way. But I'll save you some time if you're interested. I mean, I'll give you my experience with very advanced charting things. Too much information can paralyze you, and in the end, what I've learned is something as simple as two lines, crossing each other. Makes a lot of sense, and so simple, and so it's really easy to read, is my point. And oftentimes the simplest things, literally the simplest things, tend to work the best, because it just takes away from anything that oscillates, any other indicator, and most of these indications and other things are lagging indicators, so they only show up after it happens. So basically these things only tell you what happened after they happen. It's kind of no good to you at that time, or able to do any forecasting based on price action or price movement. So that's kind of the drawbacks of all indicators. Oh, that's not in the chart, but that's a drawback. But that's why you kind of have to use several things. And I guess once in a while I guess I can use this. It'll get a while for me to get used to and all that, but at the same time, I mean, this is so simple and easy, and it doesn't move. So you're not worried about how. A lot of times when I first started trading, one of the things I had, one of my mistakes was that I would watch this thing move, and based on that, instead of looking at all that I see here, that there's no buy signal, I would look at this thing, and this piece, and these two would just move around a little bit, and I would think, well, I'm gonna get in right in here, and I'll be right, and then it drops down. So doing it this way without it moving, and you're just taking a snapshot look at it, I think allows for a trader to see that there's no buy signal here. You just have to wait a little bit longer for people to stop selling off, and then when all the people sell their bitcoins and they have just that that number with the dollar sign on it, well, that's not going anywhere. At some point they're gonna have to say, wow, well, this is a good price, or there's no more bitcoins to sell. They have to buy back in if they want the price to move up. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on here, and let's just take a look at the charts real quick and see what the prices say. So they're all below 700 now, and Mt. Gox, Bitsy, Bitstamp, they're not that far from each other really. So but it's flipped over, obviously. Now Gox is the lowest, Bitsy is the highest. So these are indications of more downtrend price action. This market here is unaffected. They're probably smiling at everybody else, saying, ha ha. Anyways, there's some Litecoin. If people want to diversify into Litecoin, there you go. Here's your chance if you don't like the price of Bitcoin. So anyways, I'm looking at this, and it's still got, it's still, I don't know why that is doing that, but let's back up here. Okay. Okay, whatever the reason, the line just moves this way and goes down, but you see this is still in a downtrending pattern. So, and this is still a hard sell-off right here. These are all still pretty selling off pretty good, and you know, um, even though these two averages have not even crossed over yet. So once this starts crossing over, there probably a good chance that it's the sellers have exhausted themselves and they have um, no more bitcoins to sell. So they've got all these U.S. dollars. If they're locked out, or if you can't withdraw, you basically have to buy in at some point in time if you want to take advantage of the price movements. So and so if you look at this, it's it's just strange. I mean, if Mt. Gox is the only one that's locking everyone out with withdrawals, what about, what about Bitsy? I'm sorry, or I'm sorry, Bitstamp. This is Bitstamp, and this is a half hour on Bitstamp, and you see the line right here, the downtrending line. It's reacting in that way as well. And then we'll take a look at Bitsy, and there you go, same type of reaction on that. Of course, with Bitsy, it's actually gonna maybe have a chance to reach its support line again and then bounce up from there like it did right around here. So, but anyways, that's this episode here, and you know, I'll I'll try to use this. I'm gonna try to get familiar myself, get familiar with all this, um, and it's a lot to look at. It has some nice features here, like it mentions the Bitcoin dollar range, days range, and it kind of moves around. You can see the ask and bid price there of the two, and then the range in price, and then there's some headlines here of things going on. So, and then I think you can do some other stuff if you sign up. You can share your chart analysis with other traders and so on and so forth. So, but then again, I don't know if I'm gonna use this because, like I said, the problem with the features of doing a chart analysis, having all these features, is eventually what happens is you get paralysis by analysis, literally. So if you, in my opinion, if you can keep it simple and easy and understand chart price actions and everything, and it also takes some experience, because one thing I learned is it sucks to be on the wrong side of the trade. It really does. So, but if you have to be committed in one thing or another. If you're committed to the US dollar, you're going to be shorting Bitcoin as much as you can. If you're committed to Bitcoin, you're going to be buying Bitcoin. You're going to be long Bitcoin as much as you can. So, I guess it depends what you want. But whatever strategy you have, there's a lot of techniques in which you can hedge, cover your position, reduce the risk in the volatility movement, but also learn how to gain on the volatility movement as well. So you can reduce your risk on the volatility, at the same time increase your reward on volatility. And so in the end, you're just making out more than you may have lost, ideally, right? So a lot of things you can do. And these are very common techniques. Everybody knows how to do them. I hope everybody. Well, every experienced trader knows how to do that. So, but for maybe someone who's new, this may be a whole new thing. But you can play around with all these indicators, all these tools and everything, but in the end, it's only 2 or 3 strategies that I really rely on. After that, it's all these other indicators. It's just so confusing after a while. Anyway, this is my opinion. But thank you. I mean, I'll keep this in mind, and I'll look at it, and if there's anything here I can use or do something with, I will. But for the most part, I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to use. So don't get angry if I don't use this too often. I just like to keep it really, really simple. Of course, I know I can just draw lines on this and do all that, but we'll see. I'll play around with it. And thank you for the chart website. Appreciate it. So let's end out here and see what the hell is going on with Mt. Gox. Well, it may I don't know. It's still trying to hang in there around that support line. Still trying to hang in there around that support line. But it looks like it's kind of breaking down a little. I may have to keep redrawing lines down here to see how parallel this up channel may or may not get. If it doesn't, then there was really no up channel. If it's breaking down this, it's pretty much probably more sell-off. But considering how much has sold off, I don't know. It depends how many sellers can exhaust themselves. But just to get an idea of market depth, I don't know if these are bots, but there's hardly any sells, and there's heavy buys. Look at the heavy buys here at these price points. I mean, this is a good time to get some bargain bitcoins here compared to other markets. So look at that. This is not much of a resistance here versus here. This is my opinion, but you never know, because once the price moves up to a certain direction, all these numbers starts changing. So anyways, this concludes this episode here. This is just chart analysis, and until next time, I guess we'll stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.